This week, the Ad Hoc Committee investigating corruption, criminal infiltration and political interference in the South African Police Service concluded a week of intense public hearings. High-profile whistleblowers testified, exposing allegations that reach the highest levels of the SAPS and even implicate politicians in serious crimes. Patricia Mashale, for example, a well-known whistleblower, recounted information about the Vrede Dairy Farm case and alleged witness murders linked to the Free State. Mashale told the committee that convicted hitman Zwelinzima Nqugu had implicated certain police officers and former Free State officials in these killings, including the death of anti-fraud investigator Adv Adila Chowan. SAPS crime intelligence analyst Philasande Dotyeni brought forward startling claims about the late Deputy National Commissioner for Crime Detection, Lieutenant General Sindile Mfazi. Dotyeni told the committee that General Mfazi had uncovered a sophisticated corruption network siphoning funds from the emergency procurement tenders, including PPE contracts valued at over 1.6 billion rand. According to Dotyeni, before his death, General Mfazi confided that he was being targeted by professional assassins, and an independent toxicology report later confirmed he had been poisoned with liquid casting resin. So this week, a lot came out. Let's take a listen to some of that before we turn to our conversation with Adila Chowan.
While executing his duties, he also came across massive corruption committed. It was a syndicate of police officers, drug lords, motor vehicle syndicates, traffic cops, all those kind of things. And most of them, these police officers was working within the crime intelligence environment.
This, Honorable Chair, is a Mayday call. This is a Mayday call and the last radio call for a general in the South African Police Service, whom we believe was assassinated, whom the forensic evidence that was found after a court-ordered exhumation said that he was poisoned with casting resin. I am making this Mayday call as a plea to Parliament, because it is Parliament that elects the President. It is the President who, upon his inauguration, is flanked by the armed forces of this country. He is flanked by army generals, he is flanked by police generals. And when they salute that flag and salute the President, they pledge their life to this country, to this flag, and this is true of all officers who serve in this country.
All right, joining us now to unpack these developments and discuss whistleblower safety is whistleblower advocate Adila Chowan. Good afternoon to you, Adila, and thank you for your time. So this week, dedicated, in fact, and a bit of the week before, dedicated to hearing from the public and especially hearing from whistleblowers. How much value has been brought onto this process of the Ad Hoc Committee? Because a lot of the time, Adila, you find that these are people who have sought a platform to raise some of these issues without ever being given a proper hearing. This time around, they were able to sit before Parliament's Ad Hoc Committee and ventilate the issues that they have. The degree of them being able to prove some of their claims is a separate debate, but at the very least, they got a platform.
I'm in agreement with you 100%. This is actually an ideal opportunity for whistleblowers to have been given a platform where they can have their allegations probed, because they have made allegations of political interference within South Africa's law enforcement structures. So this actually opens up an avenue for where these are, at this point, it is allegations, but it opens up an avenue for where this matters can now be taken further and investigated at the appropriate bodies.
Just talk to me about the role of whistleblowers in an organization such as the South African Police Service, involved as they are in sensitive investigations against truly malign actors in society, but also sometimes some of their members themselves being entangled with those malign actors. What are the implications for someone who observes that something is amiss here and wants to raise that?
These are serious implications for the whistleblower herself. I mean, Patricia Mashale should be applauded that she came forward, and she's an administrator within the South African police. She's blown the whistle in a number of malfeasance within the South African police and implicated, senior officials, politicians, etc. And with that, she suffered serious consequences in that her husband and her were dismissed. I mean, to draw attention to the fact that even, weapons were being, that were confiscated and should have been destroyed. These weapons were actually being sold to a syndicate, which not only in itself is wrong, but it compromises the South African safety by making these weapons available in the public. So she's taken a huge step in terms of coming forward to expose the irregularities within the system. And I think, we can, in December, we saw the murder of the whistleblower of Marius van der Merwe. So she has actually put her life, her family's life at risk, and she's put her own livelihood at risk by coming forward.
And from their testimonies, how much do we glean around procurement issues in the SAPS? I mean, I'm looking at the testimony of the crime intelligence analyst Philasande Dotyeni and talking about how the late General Sindile Mfazi had uncovered a sophisticated corruption network siphoning funds from emergency procurement tenders, including PPEs, to the tune of some 1.6 billion rand. Last week, we had the testimony of the accountant or that official who was responsible for some of the accounting for the Secret Service Fund, aka the slush fund within crime intelligence. How important is the role of those people who are ordinarily just doing their jobs as an accountant, as an auditor, as a secretary somewhere within the value chain, but coming across some of this information?
They play a very key role. You have the supply chain management people. They are obviously vetted as well to ensure that there is, proper systems and controls. They will not be compromised. Then you have the external and internal auditors that actually end up reporting in any irregularities. Then you have the accountant themselves that have to make sure that they account for the funds within the treasury. And the responsibility and roles that it entails puts them in a very compromised position if you have senior officials that are involved in such irregularities. And, we saw it also with Babita Deokaran. I mean, she paid the ultimate price as an accountant. And with these accountants, the SCM people, the external auditors, internal auditors, they have a very, very important role in terms of protecting the financial interest of, whether it's departments, state-owned companies. And when they do report this, they end up compromising their safety because our systems are not adequate to protect their interest.
So from this experience, Adila, what are you hoping will come out by way of improving the systems for whistleblower protection? I know that this is a long-standing debate, and for a while, I mean, last year, we were meant to see the progression of this new whistleblower protection legislation through Parliament, but we didn't really get far with that. But over and above that legislation, what are some of the fixes, systemic fixes, that we are hoping will come out from the Madlanga Commission of Inquiry, but also from the processes being undertaken in Parliament?
You are correct. The protection of whistleblowers has been a very slow process in terms of making sure the legislation is improved. It appears to be a priority on the 2026 with Parliament. And we are hoping to see, the implementation of secure mechanisms for confidential reporting of irregularities, malfeasance, stronger protection and anonymity of the, anonymity provisions within the bill, and also potential incentives to whistleblowers. Also, there's something else that could be implemented where the state refuses to prosecute these anyone who's accused of allegations of malfeasance, there should be the option of private prosecutions that should be introduced into the Act. And, expand on who qualifies as a whistleblower to ensure that the net is wide enough to capture everyone so that they can be afforded protection when they come forward with any of these irregularities. And I think also to create clearer protected disclosure procedures will also assist in protecting whistleblowers.
Yeah.
And then strengthen the remedies for reprisal. I mean, that should become a criminal offense when you take action against whistleblowers. So it will be a way to deter these people that are involved in such activities. And also, I think it's important to align South Africa's, whistleblowers legislation with international anti-corruption standards. So I think those are the areas where I think there could be some improvement, and obviously to find some sort of compensation for whistleblowers. It shouldn't be the key aspect, but it should be, if someone has exposed a significant, like the 1.6 billion rand worth of corruption that has been exposed, the country saves a hell of a lot of money. So it would be, an incentive for someone to come forward. And obviously, if there is some form of incentivizing them from blowing the whistle because they are putting their lives, their family lives at risk, and of course, compromising in terms of their own future potential income.
So Adila, that's the end destination, the systemic fixes as far as whistleblower protection is concerned at various institutions of state, for example, that we're talking to. That's the destination we are hoping to get to. But we have a journey to traverse. And even in that journey, there are risks associated with those people who are trying to help us get a clearer picture of some of the goings on in the various institutions. We're talking here now, following the murder of Witness D late last year, we're now talking about yet another person that is linked to the Madlanga Commission of Inquiry, a person mentioned in the inquiry, surviving an attempt at killing them with 16 shots fired at Viandre Pretorius, and this is said to have happened in Boksburg. What's your best thinking about these processes that are leading us to that destination, the likes of your Madlanga Commission of Inquiry, the Ad Hoc Committee? What should they be doing in the immediate to ensure that they don't lose key witnesses, key persons that can help put this picture together?
I think they should have already implemented witness protection for them. I mean, we cannot have whistleblowers being killed, because that sends a very bad signal to the South Africans, in that it doesn't pay to come forward and blow the whistle, because you're going to pay with your lives. And we have seen it. It's not just Marius. We've seen Babita Deokaran. We've seen other whistleblowers that have paid the ultimate price with their lives, including the eThekwini internal auditor. So it is important that these whistleblowers are given, protection in terms of the law when they are coming forward and compromising their own safety. And I do believe this can be implemented now.
All right, thank you for your time this afternoon. That's Adila Chowan, who is a whistleblower safety advocate, advocating for the rights and the well-being of those people who, when they see something, they say something, simply because they know the difference between right and wrong in the environments in which they work.